morning and welcome to this second leg in our trip around the world using Straightway. Straightway is a navigation app I wrote myself, and I wrote it originally for hiking and trekking, and I tweaked it a little bit so it can be used for navigation, VFR navigation in aviation. So we arrived in Dubai on the 8th of March already. It's now the 28th of March. We're stranded here because of the hostilities in the Strait of Hormuz or in the Persian Gulf in general. But today we got a window and we are cleared for Karachi. So how are we gonna program that in Straightway? So you see us sitting here at the ramp at Dubai Airport, and if we're gonna fly to Karachi, we just need to. That's the Strait of Hormuz. So we're gonna put Karachi because it's like one hour and a half, 2 hours flight. Once we're up in the air or at cruise altitude, perhaps, or sooner. We're gonna put in our destination in Straightway. So we're not gonna do anything while we're on the ground, but because of the present situation in the Strait of Hormuz, perhaps it's interesting to because since we're near, here is the Strait of Hormuz, so we'll do a flyover of the really strategic area of the actual strait, and you get a sense of how wide it is, and then we'll continue to our destination, Karachi. We'll do the flyover at 10,000 feet, and the weather is, as usual in this part of the world, VFR. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take off to the. Let's check the weather. That's on an app called Metar TAF for Dubai. It's VFR, and we're gonna take off, to the south or east. So we'll do a turn then. We're gonna start our. You got these islands, contested islands. So we'll fly to this island first. Just put your destination there, and we can. I'll show you how to do this. So zoom in on where we are. We're gonna take off to the south. So let's take this runway, the 12 right, because the wind is blowing from the south. So as a quick. We need to get to this point here. This will be our turn-off point. Here. Just put a marker there so that we don't miss it. And then our threshold will be here. So let's start up the Jinnah citation. I'm gonna check first if you've got if you have audio before we realize after 2 hours that there is. You can see the app and you can see the plane and you can see and hear me. That's fine. So first thing we're gonna do is, as always, make sure our parking brake is set and put on our battery switch. Our emergency lights. And then right away we'll put our full avionics. And that's very fast. We don't use ATC in of these demonstrations of straightway. But we'll try to adhere to nav and our logo, so we can start up our lighting, just to make sure in case we get, well, we will be needing it, but it's a standard thing to do. And that's it. So we're gonna start up engine 1, remove the card, check our things. Sorry, it's not gonna work. It's been a while. First our engine starter, and let it spool up to N2 20. Yeah, it must be there. We're gonna wait till the engine is fully powered, so the alternator is fully charging the batteries for the startup of the second engine. There's no ground unit for power supply. This is ready. So we're gonna turn around to 180 and get to the taxiway. Okay. Gonna set our autopilot, so the our flight management system the barometer is 1009, sorry, 10009. That we're gonna set our cruise altitude to 10,000 feet. Our initial altitude, so that will be our sightseeing, our flyover altitude, and why don't we set our FLC to 230, pretty much standard climb speed for the Cessna Citation. Arm our heading, and we'll set our heading bug. Okay, so that's it. Are we and to the right we are, yeah, I think we better turn to the left. Oh, yeah, we should be able to clear that. I mean, hit our taxi lights. You have no passengers, so no belt lights. And off we go. Parking brakes release, and power to the left. Just gonna... We have to clear the guy. Yeah. He's watching. So would I. Okay. Looks good. Let's switch to straightway. Yep, you can see us move to the taxiway. And this must be the taxiway, so we'll turn to the right, left. So you can follow on straightway where you go, and you can even see the names of the taxiways. Remember we put a marker? Yeah, it's completely deserted. Port closed. They said our insurance is revoked, so we're flying without insurance at our own peril. Okay, we're coming up to the turn-off point, so that must be this. And then go straight ahead, and we'll be at runway 12 right. So you can perfectly use the straightway for taxiing. Coming up on our thresholds. 12. We're at Kilo 1. So we're gonna pre-flight the airplane here. Brakes on. Not much pre-flight to do. Just make sure our trim is set in. Somewhere in the middle, and our flaps to 15, and our pitcho heating, put it on, always standard, and then finally our strobe on and our landing lights on, so we're ready for a rolling takeoff. So you can see our target is pointing to. So what we're gonna, once we're on board, we're gonna make a 180 and turn to this island, and then we'll put in another target, so we can fly off the entire coast of the Strait of Hormuz, and you'll get an idea of how close we are when you're in Dubai Airport. Sailing, oh yeah, so you can use straightway for sailing the sailboat, and it indicates when you need to tack, but we don't need that, so click on the orange button, and now we have what we're gonna do is just follow that arrow once we're airborne. Parking brakes release. And stop here to set our heading bug to runway heading, and now we're cleared for we're ready for a takeoff. No ATC, so we'll rotate at 110 full power. Slight crosswind from the right. Rotate. Positive rate, gear up. Flaps up. See the autopilot. And autopilot activated. So hands-free. Taking off from Dubai. And we're gonna do a 180 now. So that we point to our target arrow. Turning over Dubai. This is where we took off from, the right runway. And that's the Burj Khalifa, or there are two of them. The Burj means tower in Arab, I think. Okay. Reducing our power to climb. There we are. That's the Palm Islands over there. Then there's the world. No, that's the Palm Island. This is the world, but that's sinking into the sea apparently. I've reliably been informed. And ahead of us is the, yeah, that's what it is about, the Strait of Hormuz. And turn a bit to the left. We have to point to the left arrow. Yeah, what do we look like from the outside? So this is us over Dubai. Again, Straightway is not meant for flight simulator, because you need a special bridge program code, which I wrote especially for these series. But the idea is that you use it in the real world, so in a real plane, or in a real sailboat, or while hiking, what it originally was meant for. So where are we flying to? We're flying to the island of the first contested island. As we speak, Marines are on their way to the region, and let's hope both parties come to their senses, and perhaps one party more than the other. I'm not gonna say which, because this is not a political series, it's about Straightway. So we are 10,000 feet, and let's have a look at the map where we're going to. We're still in UAE territorial airspace, and we're heading for our first island, which is called, yeah, so that's in Arab. The cultural map, you've got two maps, a cultural one and a geographic map. The cultural maps are in the local language, but if you switch to the geographic map, then if there is an English name, it's mentioned, but there is none here. This is an Iranian island. So look how close it is to, there it is. And We'll be there in 10 minutes. Look at the bottom left corner. 10 minutes we'll be there. It's 48 nautical miles. And then we'll turn to the northeast and do the whole strait. And hopefully we still have fuel to get to Karachi. So the coast of Dubai is slowly retreating behind us. There are the two famous or infamous island constructions dug up from the bottom of the ocean, sea, by mostly European companies, dredging companies. But the problem is, it's not just constructing them, it's keeping them above the sea surface, because they are continuously eroded. So the day maintenance stops, they'll probably sink. Nature will reclaim her property. Well, that's nothing political, that's just my opinion. There we are over the Strait of Hormuz, and that's the island, that's Iran. And we're only flying at 300 knots over the ground. Well, it's pretty substantial. And it takes 7 minutes. In 8 minutes we'll be there. The entire video is, of course, real time, no cutouts, also with real weather on this 28th of March. Yes, it's the 28th of March 26. If somebody watches this video in a few years, you'll know it's when the United States and Iran were at loggerheads. And Israel, of course. That island is also Iranian. Tell you what, we'll go, we'll change stack. So it's very easy, just go like, and then we'll head up, that's, we are very flexible. So that's our new course, the yellow arrow, and it's only 50 nautical miles, that island. It's also Iranian, so and what is that called? It's called that's an airstrip. That would be a main target of the opposition, I imagine. And its diameter is only 2 nautical miles. So the compass rose, you can use it to measure sizes, lengths, distances. So it fits, just zoom out till it fits, and then watch the right corner is diameter, the left corner is the radius. So that's 3 nautical miles, it's tiny. And just making sure we're going straight over it. I don't know to what extent it's detailed in Microsoft Flight Simulator. This is 2020, because I don't need 2024 or demonstrate straight away. It's not about the optics. And I got the impression that even 2020 updates the scenery just like 24 would. So it's more about the flight characteristics of the planes and perhaps the airports. So there we are, almost on this. If this was the real world, I would probably be shot at, no doubt. We would have had a few air-to-air, surface-to-air missiles coming our way, or perhaps a drone. Perhaps they won't spend that expensive surface-to-SAM edits, but a drone, perhaps yes. So that's the oh, well, we got a runway, and we got some facilities there. So that's Iranian. It's a whole town here. Yep. There we are. Okay, now we're on our way to let's go to this island, because apparently like so, a bit to the right, and gonna go to 20,000 feet, get a better overview. So put in our nav and increase our give us some more power because we don't have an auto throttle in the Cessna Citation. And make sure we are heading, so I'm putting degrees to the right in the autopilot, so we're turning to the yellow arrow, which is the start of the island. So we're at 10 and we should be at 18, that's true north. It's all true north in straightaway. Except if you press the button in the middle, the circle, if it turns red, then you're using magnetic, then you're using your phone's compass. Oh, we got an overspeed. But that's you get also the magnetic interference of your cockpit if you use that in the real world. So I would advise to use the true north using the GPS to calculate your bearing and your heading and your track. And right, so we're going almost straight to that island. There it is. Gonna get us up a bit faster. The Citation can climb really, really fast. Even faster still. 3,000 feet. Can it do that? And that'll get us up to see, now we get a better overview. This is that island here, which has another runway. Military, of course, Iranian. And a harbor, which is here. some kind of pier. Yeah, I can make out the runway, so that would be another target for the US Marines. But you can see how close that is to the mainland of Iran. This is Iran proper. And look at those mountains. Look at those mountains. Tell you what. Altitude on. Let's level off here. And then we can get a view of the a better view of the height of the mountains, because if you're too high, you don't see the and that's Kuwait, the UAE. So there's a huge mountain range here. So that's this. So that's or no, that's probably Oman. It's a bit convoluted here. So those are these mountains. So that would be blue territory, and the other one would be green territory. So this island is enormously fortified. It's completely dug under with tunnels for launching drones, apparently for launching unmanned sea vehicles, drones, in caves. It doesn't look good. You got these weird mountains with these spines. They're really weird. If you zoom in on them, here you can see them. It's really like a spine. Here's another one. And I can imagine you can use these gullies to hide all kinds of stuff. Even have a kind of natural crater here. That's probably that. And look at those mountains in the background. Overspeed again. We don't have enough room. How layered they are. So you got these plains, mountains, plains. You don't see it. You see these big mountains. Okay, we're over the island, so we're gonna follow it. We're gonna go to this point. So we need to turn to the right. We can do that visually also, of course. And that's what's that? That's here. That must be so we are here. Here we are. And that's probably that river. And that looks like solar panels, or perhaps that's a desalination plant. Oh, here you go. There it is. That looks like a desalination plant. Yeah, let's switch our maps. No, doesn't say any names. That definitely looks like a I first thought it were solar panels, but those are ponds to evaporate the water, or probably. Can't think of any other. Please don't hit those. They are used to. That would be a war crime on both sides. Because people need water, populations need water. In this region, if you hit a desalination plant, that's definitely a war crime. No matter if that's been used partially by the military, or even say if it was 50-50 used by the military and 50-50 by civilians, I would still say it's a war crime. You can't do that. These are kind of marshlands. Yeah, looks like a marshlands. Wow, interesting. Now this here, where we're flying over, probably is completely fortified, militarized, underground. Iran has had 40-50 years to dig in. So whatever comes, look how close the other side is. So whatever comes through here, cargo ship or tankers without authorization of Iran, look what an easy target they are. They can launch their drones, their UAVs or guided missiles, but they would be launched probably from behind those mountains, in those mountains where they're safe for aerial attack. It would be harder to hit a moving target, but those unmanned seagoing drones full of explosives, or perhaps suicide drones, yeah, that's a real possibility. Not unmanned, can be jammed, a suicide drone. Just one ship, take out one ship, or a military ship, a naval ship, and look, that's the Strait, and they could use this as a passage for as a really safe passage. I don't know if that is navigable for big cargo ships. So this strait here, they could be for really friendly ships to allow them, but I think it's too shallow for big ships, so they use this strait here between that's here. Hold on. No, that's this island. It's this strait. You see this gap? This they will use as a toll booth, where you have to pay your $2 million, even if you're friendly, and they allow you to pass through this. But anything else that comes through this, you're a target. So that's how it works. And this will probably be too shallow for big seagoing vessels. There's a bridge here that connects to the mainland, and it's not. No, it's not shown. Is that a bridge? No, it's not a bridge. It's a pond. Yeah, there's no bridge, so it's. So there are settlements here. This place, Tabel. Looks like another desalination plant. Yep. And an airstrip. So that's here somewhere. Here's the airstrip, and that's the desalination plant is here. I can imagine that this island is completely militarized, so striking a desalination plant on this island would be more acceptable as a military target, but I'm not a military expert. I don't think there's many civilians. I think it's completely militarized. Well, this does look like a civilian settlement. So this strait here between that peninsula and that island is used as a toll booth. That island is called oh dear, it doesn't even have a name. But the city does have a name, Larakshari. So Larakshari Island. And this shows the this is Hormuz. That's why it's called the Strait of Hormuz. This is the city of Hormuz. We learned something. So it's on this island. It's the city of Hormuz. I always wondered, where does that name come from? So as a reminder, that's the enemy for the Iranians. The Americans and Oman and the UAE and the Gulf, the GCC, the Gulf Cooperation Council countries. And this is that bend. And I think it's time to go to head for Pakistan, Karachi. Hormuz. That's 24 nautical miles away. And that's will be famous or infamous, that name. And look at those mountains in the background. So if the Iranians have concealed missile launch pads inside the mountains, which cannot be, if they are smart, they dug them inside the mountains under the granite. No Moab or big penetrating bomb can reach in there. If they're smart, they also put in excavating material, bulldozers inside those caves, so if the opposition blocks or bombs the entrances, then they can dig themselves out. And they've done all that. They've done. They're not stupid. I mean, they're smart people. I mean, technically smart people. They've excellent engineers, and they've got 40-50 years to figure this out. And who could have imagined that they wouldn't have done this? What kind of military idiot could not have foreseen this? That this would have happened, that they would block this. So that was the start of our leg to Pakistan. I hope we still have enough fuel, and we'll plan our route to Pakistan. Well, it's not much of a route. It's just go to Karachi. Just Karachi, and we'll put in just Karachi as our target there. And we just follow. That's 500 nautical miles. And we'll start climbing to 41,000 feet and head out of here before they use us for target practice. You don't want to know what the fuel costs to get this citation to Pakistan. And off we go. Let's make it 3,000, 2,500. And full power, climb power. And then we should turn to 99, so a bit to the right. The moon's out. Sorry. That's Hormuz, the island of Hormuz. The namesake of the Strait. And in the back you can see other desalination plants. And those are almost definitely civilian. And you see these mountains, these huge mountains. They're going up to 3,000 meters. Let's have a look. Here's one, 3,250 meters. That's skiing territory. But I don't think that'll be on the mind of the people living there now. So we're climbing away from the Strait of Hormuz on our way to Pakistan. And look, our arrow of movement, which is that, see that arrow that departs from the crosshairs? It's our direction of movement, so if that coincides with our target, more or less, we know we're going to Pakistan, to Karachi. Once we're at cruise altitude, we'll plan our arrival in Karachi. We'll check on the weather and stuff like that. As I said, we don't have any ATC coverage in these demonstrations because it's not relevant for the demonstration, and also there are no airspaces. We can fly wherever we want, and we can even fly VFR above 18,000 feet, which is what we're doing all the time. It's just to demonstrate straightway how it can be used in case of an emergency. If you're in a high-powered plane, which probably has its own glass cockpit, well, if you ever have a problem with that happens, then you have this on your phone. It has a good chance of getting you home. Not legally, but physically. Okay, we're going almost straight to Karachi. Only 1 degree difference to the right, so I'm gonna put 1 degree on the autopilot to the right. And that's always satisfying. Let's see if it okay, one more. See if we can climb somewhat faster. Wow, 4,000 feet. Citation really is amazing. Climbing at no, it can't hold on to that, so it drops. 2000 seems to be. Okay, so now we're tracking exactly to Karachi 9999. As said, once we're oh yeah, so the Strait here. Another total look. So that's the Strait, and it makes this awful bend. And by the way, this is also, so that's the GCC countries, and this is Iran again. And again with the desalination plant. So, and you see these spines running. You can imagine what you can hide in those. And how it's like a bulldozer bulldozed them. It's amazing. You look at those patterns. But tactically or militarily, what an ideal terrain for a defender. For a defender, not an attacker. A defender. This is terrain that favors a defender, unlike Iraq. It's flat. Iraq is flat. So it's ideal for your high-tech weapons to spot tanks 10 nautical miles away. But not here. This is made for defense. So if you look at, this is Iraq. Look how flat it is. And that where the mountains start, that's Iran. So Iran is by definition a mountainous country. It's completely, this is Tehran. Look how it's set against the mountains. This is Iran. It's defined by mountains. A mountainous area, country is ideal to defend. Look at Switzerland. Nobody ever thought of invading Switzerland in 800 years. So this is Iraq, so it's ideal to test your high-tech, long-range precision weapons on enemy tanks, on enemy troops. You see every movement, there's no place to hide, the only place you can dug in is sand. Completely different in Iran. Plus it's, Iran is about 4 times the size. Jesus. It's about 4 times the size of Iraq. And has 90 million citizens. Not all, or perhaps the majority, in favor of the regime. But you know what happens when you're attacked? When your country is attacked, no matter who is in charge of your country, people tend to, and that the Trump administration never thought of that. But even if they despise their own regime, once they are attacked by an outside enemy, which has complete disregard for them, by the way, it's only cosmetic that we want to liberate the Iranian people. Well, I'm convinced of that. And people are not stupid. They say through it, and it shows well. In spite of the Ayatollah regime, our country, because they are being bombed, civilian infrastructure is being bombed. Oh man, this is getting way too political for the series. It reminds you of, of Europe when it was under a Nazi siege. The Allies bombed the shit out of, the hell out of European cities. So yeah, then it was kind of endured by the occupied people, because it was a precursor to a liberation. They knew that this was necessary. It was to degrade the Nazis, and so the German occupation forces. And precision wasn't nowhere near what it was today for bombings. So they kind of accepted that. So you could argue that the Iranian people, are willing, so the opposition Iranian people, which is a majority of the Iranians that oppose their own the Ayatollah regime, the theocratic regime. So if you want to oppose its internal, so you could argue that they are willing to endure bombings by Israel and America, because that's a precursor to their liberation. But Trump is too wishy-washy. The other day, it's just wants to have the Strait opened, then he was just want to have control over the oil, and if tomorrow there's regime change, and if it's a kind of Iranian Delcy Rodriguez like in Venezuela, that it would appear that he doesn't care about where are we now. So we're already contrailing, and hold on. Yeah, almost coming up on 41,000 feet. So it's all about regime change. But what is regime change? You would think that in the mind of the oppressed people, it's getting away with the entire regime and having elections. Now you see what that meant, regime change in Venezuela. Anybody heard about any plans for free and fair elections in Venezuela? Don't think so. That was not the point. The point was not, are you an authoritarian or a Democrat? The point was, do you like American oil companies? Do you want to give them licenses or not? Or in case of Trump, do you want to give me a personal license? A personal grift or whatever? Like his whole family in law and his family is doing in the GCC. So no, it's there's a fair chance that if the Iranian people are being bombed into smithereens, they're not going to endure in the same way that the Europeans during World War II on the continent were willing to sustain that. I remember that that's a good analogy. You've got this school that was girls' school that was bombed at the start of the war by the States, by America, with 150 dead. There's a good analogy in the lead up to just watch. There's no auto throttles. We have to. Where are we going in our? Yeah, we're going straight to Karachi. So in the lead up to D-Day, or was it? Yeah, it was in the lead up to D-Day. The Allies were softening up German defenses, which are often intertwined with the civilian infrastructure in Europe. So there was, yeah, it was, and in the case of Belgium, in Antwerp, there was a huge chemical factory, which called ACFA, which was part of ACFA, which persisted outside of the city of Mortsel, and they got it wrong. So there was an overcast, and they bombed Mortsel, and it was in the thousands. Belgians killed in Mortsel, but they endured. They endured because they knew this was a preparation for the liberation. So if you are assured, then an oppressed people is willing to go through the hardship of being bombed by your future liberators. But Trump, there's no guarantee what his intentions are of this operation. If he would have said, well, we're going in, it's to free the Iranian people, and he has thrown them under the bus twice, I think. That he said, rise up to your oppressors, and then hang them out to dry. 30,000 killed. No American invasion. And now he's doing it again, or he's suggesting it. Well, people are not stupid. And what's worse, they can, in the end, even start to side with the regime, because contrary to the European analogy of World War II, the oppressor was not foreign. In Belgium, the oppressor was German. It was an invader. But here, even if they are oppressors, they still are Iranians. The Islamic Republican Guard, they are Iranians. So it takes... It's easier to switch sides with your own country, even if you and to bury those differences. If it turns out that you're being attacked because of your natural resources, that's the real reason. Yeah. So they got it all wrong. They got it all wrong with their bombings, and unless it has a really military value. And we're going out to we're 3 degrees off to 1, 2, 3, turning to the right. In the meantime, we're at cruise altitude. So what we're going to do is start calculating our descent in Karachi. How we're going to do that? So here we are in the worlds. We're going to pick an airport in Karachi and switch to the other map. And then, well, here's a big one. That's probably the international airport. And let's check on the weather in Karachi. Karachi. So it's VFR runway condition. No, Karachika, that's Russia. Wrong. Karachi. That should be the one. Yeah, but marginal VFR. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so we have a it's just to know what runway we need to pick. 50 knots from 270, so definitely have to pick 225. Okay, does it say anything else? Okay, 225. And our barometer is... where's the barometer? See full meter. Oh, we need to activate the account. That's too bad. Jinnah International Airport. And where is Jinnah? Ah, that's Karachi. Okay. And our TAF for Saturday. Let's go to the METAR. 10:05, he'll put that in. Hopefully that's not gonna... We'll arm it. 10.05. Okay. And then runway 25. Let's see. Let's head back over to Straightway. So that's 25. We have a choice. 25 left because the airport. We'll go for 25 left because the facilities are at the left side. So what we're gonna do is put in first the inactive, because we're landing from east to west. So the inactive threshold for us is this one. Put a marker and then add it to the route. That's number one. And then go to the other side and do the same. There you go. And now the airport is entered into Straightway. The only thing you need to do is put in the elevation of the airport, and you can do that by changing maps again, and now you have elevation lines. Oops. And here's one. And it says, damn, it's just on the road, you can't read it. Let's go for another one. Oh, 20, here's one. It's like 20 meters. So it's pretty, so 20 meters, go to, make sure at the last point that this is activated, and then click on the 74 to reverse the course. And now the little plane has appeared. Click on it, put in 20 meters. It's flat, so 1500 pattern altitude is okay. Click on the orange square, and now we've got everything calculated. So 65 runway elevation in feet, pattern altitude of 1565, runway length is 11,000 feet, because we put in the two markers, so Straightway can calculate the runway length. So that's what it looks like. And now we have once we've that's important. Once we've clicked on the orange square, so on the orange square, then all that stuff is calculated, and we your current altitude, and then your pattern altitude, which of course remains fixed, and then your top of descent distance, 282 nautical miles. So within 282 nautical miles, we'll do our we'll start our descent, or we'll start watching our descent parameters. We'll decide when to descend. You'll see what I mean. But that's all we need to do. And let's hope the weather is it says marginal VFR, so we might need stretch the capabilities of Straightway to their maximum, which will be interesting. Yeah, but that's the idea. We're gonna fly the world only using Straightway, even if the meteorological conditions would not ever allow it legally to be used. Okay, so here we are, and this is still very much yeah, this is still Iran. This is the border with Pakistan, and that border is how far away? You see on the bottom left, you got your current position and your target position. That says to which of the two the distance to the crosshairs are calculated. So now it's to the target. So if I move the map, wherever I am on the map, it's a distance and bearing to the airport. If I change to the current position, it's the distance and bearing to our current position. So if you go to the border here, you put your cursor here, you can see on the left it's 126 nautical miles to the border with Pakistan. You don't need to set your target there, you can calculate it just like that. And look at that barren land. Wow, look at that. Look at what... It's like an excavator with one big scoop. Are you able to see that on the map? Oh yeah, here it is. Here it is. So that feature is the size of it. It's 8 nautical miles and a half in diameter. 8 nautical miles and a half. And there's this, that's weird. Looks like a river, but then it stops in the, or is there perhaps there's a dam? Yeah, that looks like a dam. So that's all of the stuff you, a lot of stuff you can do with Straightway. But people don't realize that you can also use it to go shopping or to visit the city. I mean, if you switch to the cultural map again, and you go to, I don't know, you go to Rome. The level of detail is just astounding. This is Roma Termini. So every little monument is on there with its name, with the shops, everything is on there. So if you fly your citation, you can use the app that you use to fly, even all the hotels, and not just the hotels who pay, no, all the hotels. And this is the Basilica di Cinti. Try get at it that even if you go into a garden, you see the individual statues and then names. Try that on the map that starts with a G. Ah! Okay, back to where we are. Just click on the current position and we go back to where we are. Over the nothingness of the east of Iran. Well, I don't mean that degrading in any sense, of course, to the people who live there. I'm sure to them it's fullness. I wish them all the best. This is where I took off. Remember, we put a marker for taxiing. That's why it's still showing. So wherever you put a marker, until you delete it, I think you get about 7 of them. Yeah. On our way to Karachi, and I think I'm gonna take a nap. And I'll put you on the panoramic, so you got something to look at. And 234 nautical miles. It'll be in half an hour or something that we'll start our top of descent. So I'll catch you later. Well, I'm back again. Just since we have a Marshall VFR, there might be a chance we need an alternative airport. Now let's see. 13, 50. This is 70 nautical miles away. This is 43 nautical miles away. Is there an airport? Nope, there isn't. Nope. So if you're at zoom level 12, you should see the airports, if there are any. And there aren't. And this is a bigger town. Does it have? This is a huge town. It should have an airport. Ah, there's one. So what we're gonna do, in case we have to do a go around or deviate because of the bad weather, we'll do one go around, and then if that doesn't work, we'll put in the 2 markers already, so we don't have to. We'll make our little route when we are on our way to this airport. It's not much work, and also already make a mental note of its elevation. So I'm gonna write that down so that we don't need to do that either when we're in the air. So the elevation is, let's have a look here, 40 meters. 40 meters. It's about 120 feet, but Straightway calculates that for you. So the reason why you have to enter it in meters, that's because the maps are in meters. And Straightway is supposed to work with the information. Are we going to Karachi as an alternate airport? But let's hope we can make it to Karachi. So the reason why we have to enter in meters is because Straightway uses OpenStreetMap, which is a kind of Wikipedia of maps. It's not corporate owned, it's owned by the people, by the users. But the standard maps are in meters because, hey, that's what the majority of the world uses. So that's why when you enter airport elevations in Straightway, you should do that in meters. I considered also putting in a field for feet, but the display is too crowded to do that. So our alternate airport has been programmed. And let's have a look at our. It's still 130 nautical miles to our top of descent. And in the meantime, we are over the. Is that Iran? Ah, we just passed the border with Pakistan. So we're already over. Pakistan. Huge. And we got a little overcast, or a layer, cloud layer. Planes. Planes with a AI, not with a ANE. So we're over the plains of the coastal plains of Pakistan. We have some mountain features, which is this one. Did you see there? This mountain ridge. Again, a spine-like feature, almost alien-like. And there's a Gwadar. at our beam. So if we, oh, that was unintended. That's what we get with okay. That was unintended autopilot switch off. And we're settling back. Oh yeah, I noticed we never switched to standard pressure. But well, doesn't really matter. We can do that. Standard pressure. We're alone, by ourselves. And where was I? Guadar. Okay, so at our beam is Guadar. So 90 degrees to the right, there must be Guadar. Or is it there? It's hard to see. It's kind of a peninsula. Ah, that's this. Yeah, it's weird. It's got this hammer shape. So that's this place. Yeah, Guadar. And there's the town of Turbat. I don't know, we can see it. Can use the ridges as a guidance. Turbat must be here somewhere. If I got my bearings right, quite literally. Oh yeah, here's the road. That road runs, see that road running? And that goes to, yeah, to Turbat. So Turbat must be there. We're a bit off, 99, 102, so we're gonna do 3 degrees to the right, so 1, 2, 3. Now we're turning slightly to the right, and you'll see we should settle at 102. 100. So if you look at the runway, our approach we've planned, it's VFR. Straightway, we only use straightway for VFR. So it will be a right base pattern, because we are, you can see that. So we'll turn, when we approach the runway, we'll turn to the left and start flying parallel to the runway on our downwind. Then turn to the right for right base. That's how we're gonna do it. Now if the whether it's marginal VFR or, God forbid, IFC, we're gonna extend our downway, because that will give us more time to get us established on the center line of the runway, on the approach. We'll see. Always plan ahead. you can have some fun with tuning the barometer so that the GPS altitude coincides with what we are flying on the autopilot. Gonna do just for fun, see how that works. So now we are back on 1800. So we should bring that down. So we should be we're flying at 41 on the GPS at 41,900 feet, and on the autopilot at 4,100. So if we bring down the we should start descending, and our GPS altitude should start dropping. There you go, it starts dropping. Ever so slightly. And then we can get the barometer setting, the real barometer setting according to the GPS of our altitude, of our current position. So we're almost there. We'll need to check the weather forecast for the METAR for Karachi again. So I hope that makes any sense what we're doing. You'll see why it makes sense. Almost there. There we are. Bit below. Gonna make the plane rise again. Yeah, so we're approximately our GPS altitude, or our PFD altitude. Barometric altitude corresponds to our GPS altitude. That means that this 1041 should be our actual barometer setting for this point on Earth. That's a fun thing to do. But anyway, I'm gonna change back to standard pressure. Yeah, and citation starts adjusting again. Checking the weather. Is there an update? Is there an update button? Perhaps if I change TAF. and then back again. It's 20 minutes old. Still a marginal VFR. A ceiling of 10,000 and 1,005 hectopascal. So I'm gonna put that in the arm value. Back again. There we are. "36 nautical miles to our top of descent." Another interesting feature. That must be this. That looks like the perfect natural harbor. And is it? No. There's some sort of what is this? Wow, that really is the most astonishing natural harbor I've ever seen. It looks like Pearl Harbor. But weirdly, there's no human habitation around it. And what's its size? It has a diameter of 17 nautical miles. Wow. Pakistan, why haven't you developed that into probably too shallow? But even if it is too shallow, if you bagger it, if you dig it out, make it turn it into a deep sea port. This is deep sea, just outside of the territorial nautical waters. It's close to Omara. And that's yeah, that's almost the perfect weird. There it is. That looks almost too perfect. It's even protected by a mountain ridge, another spine here. The Chinese could turn that into a Silk Belt hub, Belt Road hub. Pakistan, mountainous area, country, and see how it's like a car accident, how it's wrinkles, the mountains. So it's when the Indian subcontinent hit the main continent, Asia, it wrinkled like a car accident, and that's why you have these huge mountain ranges. Quetta. What is Quetta? Quetta is at an altitude. That's a plane. But I got a suspicion that the town itself is at there we go, it's at 1,700 feet. That plane is at meters, 1,700 meters, Jinnah. It's like Colorado. $1,600 feet. Oh yeah, so Straightway is on a real phone. I'm using it as it should. That's when I move it. You can see the compass rose move. So that's the cone that you see, the teal cone. Well, if I change maps, you can see it. Here you can see it. So if I move it, now I move the phone, it moves the cone. Oh, 2.5 nautical miles, top of descent. Now, let's not panic. Watch 1, 3, and you'll see 2.5 glide slope. So straight away starts giving you a glide slope. There you go, as of 2.5, but we'll take a 3. We'll wait till it's a 3. What we're gonna do already is set our, so our barometer is already set, and our altitude, our new selected altitude will be our parent altitude. And we're gonna take 1600 to do that. 1600 all the way down to 1600. That's nice. And then we're waiting for it to turn to 3 degrees. So we're now at 2.6. And then we'll set our vertical speed to initiate our descent. So we've been cruising for the past hour at 41,000 feet, and that's what that looks like. And glorious blue skies. 2.7. So we wait till our glide slope gets as steep as 3 degrees, because that's so you have the choice. It's not because you suddenly get a glide slope that you need to start descending, especially in if your destination is in a mountainous area. I would go for a glide slope that's as steep as possible to stay at altitude as long as possible. 2.8. By the way, we're also going to use that for the approach, but it will be a slightly different interface display. But you'll see, we'll use the calculated glide slope as guidance for when to initiate our go from our final approach fix to start descending to the runway. We are scheduled for within 20 minutes. Touchdown. 20 minutes to touchdown. .9. So vertical speeds, there you go, and we put it at straightway says 2000, make it 2300, and reduce our speeds. And there you go. There's no auto throttle, so, and we've initiated our descent to Karachi. There we are. Slide. You can see the our descent angle by watching our contrails, which is always fascinating. And we're descending to Karachi. $2,300 and 2,000. Always make it the larger number, or in this case the lower number. So 2,400, round it down. Okay, I'm increasing the power, but then I'll need to reset the vertical speed. So the vertical speed has increased. I have to watch not to overspeed. Yeah, we need to do that manually because there's no auto throttle in the CJ4. Okay. Setting to Karachi. 104, 103, we're gonna put it 1 degree to the left. Right is right. That terrain is really amazing. You see how nature crafted these mountains through erosion and geological activity, and it's beautiful. Look at this, look at this. Look at this cliff. It's a cliff. It's a cliff. That must be gee. That must be this feature? This feature here. No, here it is. This is the cliff. Wow. If you zoom in on it. That's just amazing. It looks like man-made. Going straight to 2,300, keep checking. We're a bit descending too fast, so 2,400. That's how we do that. Okay. Now we're back. We're deviating. So 4 degrees to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. $26,000 feet. And we're looking good. 80 nautical miles, that must be Karachi, right there. And there is some overcast. Oh yeah, perhaps a good idea to check on the fuel. Oh, looks good. 280 per hour, and we have 1830. Yeah, okay, we're descending, but still. Hopefully that will be enough for our alternate. Three degrees. We're on target. Setting too much, so 2 degrees 200. If you want to stay on 3 degrees, you see it's already started switching with 2.9, which is so if you want to go back to with more certainty to 3 degrees, make it 2,100 a bit, or 2,000 a bit higher than what the straightway says, or less descent rate than what the straightway says. And then we'll set ourselves with more assertion on the 3 degree glide path. That's a glide path. Glide slope is only used for ILS precision approaches. It's a glide path. See, 3 degrees no longer blinks to switches to 2.9. And once we are established again, go back to yeah, it sure looks hazy. Now if you go to our approach, you see the bottom, you got this diagram that says, well, 4.7 is the distance if you're at pattern altitude and you're flying straight in to the runway. You need to start leaving your pattern altitude and commence your descent to the thresholds at about 4.7 nautical miles. It's just to get an idea, also to keep when we're maneuvering in the pattern, how far we need to stay from the center line. It says 299, but that's mathematics. From experience, if you keep it at about the same distance as as the teal number, the 4.7, your descent distance, so to speak. Also use that for the pattern, for the cross track distance to the center line, the magenta number. You should be fine. The yellow number, yeah, that's something I put in. To calculate that turn point, but well, in practice, it's the teal number that's most important. And if you want to put in security margin for your approach length, yeah, make that add a few nautical miles, like when you have a marginal VFR or IFR, then you want to make that a larger distance, so you have more time to establish on the center line of the runway before you start descending. So that's one parameter less to stabilize. But anyway, gonna see. 51 nautical miles, 2.9. We're getting a bit shallow, but that doesn't really matter because there are no mountains. It's flat as a pool table around Karachi, apparently. So it's not an issue. If there had been mountains, we would have used multiple approach points. And perhaps we'll see that in another, trip around the world. Another airport we're gonna do, where you have to fly between the mountains to approach the airport, so you can do that in straightway. And then it's not just the 2 points of the runway, but also approach points. Would be interesting to have a demo. We're approaching 10,000 feet, so I'm gonna start bringing down our speed to 250 knots, approximately. I'm already changing our barometer to the actual barometer setting, in case we forget. Reducing airspeed, and I'm also continuously adjusting the vertical speed in the autopilot to track straightway, which keeps us at 2.9. Should be 3, but it doesn't really matter because, as said, we are in flat terrain. We're already at 250 knots. $1,600. Keep tracking it. That's because we reduce our horizontal speed, our airspeed, our true airspeed, and that influences the descent rate, of course. The glide slope. If you keep the descent rate constant and we change, then the glide slope. If we increase our speed and we keep the autopilot on a fixed, then the glide slope gets shallower. The glide path gets shallower. Now we're down to 1,500. 34 nautical miles. That must be Karachi. Some clouds, real weather, a real life weather. I don't know what the local time is. We straightway doesn't show it. It does show ETA or ETE. Now we're on ETE, which is always the less confusing if you're traveling across time zones. Nice. Descent rate 1400, straightway says let's try and follow it. 8,300, gonna put our oh my god, we forgot to extinguish our landing lights the whole flight. Great, means we don't have to put them on. Well, we forgot to set the standard barometer as well. Again, this is not a flight instruction video. It's not even a flight simulator instruction video. It's a straightway instruction video. 1200. So we keep reducing our descent rate because straightway reduces it. Gonna make it overshoot it a bit. Now the airport must be dead ahead. That looks like an airport, but it's to 100. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're turning to the airport. Exactly. Yeah, it's in the clouds. That's why we have marginal VFR. We're good. We're staying now at 2.8 because I put the descent rates above what or under what straightway is advising, so that we've seen it going even to 2.9. Seven nautical miles. So we start turning to the left. Watch the magenta number when it's like, let's say 5, or why don't we start already? Doesn't really matter. So we'll start turning to the left. To fly parallel with the center line. That's the idea. So we are on our left downwind. We're entering our left downwind. And we'll end up at about 6 nautical miles, which is fine. So I said 4.7, but 6 is even better. Give us some margin. So we're gonna go to our descent, our pattern altitude, and the yellow arrow, don't forget, is pointed to our threshold. So once the threshold is a beam, we can theoretically start, but we're gonna continue a bit on the downwinds because, I don't know, that looks a bit hazy. It looks kinda featureless. So we'll try and remain straightway, not visual, but using straightway as long as possible. We're flying perfectly parallel to the runway, and the runway should be somewhere over there, 10 nautical miles away. Let's see how hazy it is. So it should be somewhere over there.
Altitude.
Arriving at our pattern altitude. So and that gives us a good opportunity to stabilize also with our flaps, our first flap setting on the downwind. Gonna extend landing gears once we turn to base, and then full flaps once we descend to, or just before we start descending to the runway. Still perfect. There you go. So we already switched to the approach display. When it's red, it's you're too shallow for your descent angle. When it's blue, you're too high, and when it's green, you're in the sweet spot. It always gives the descent angle, even if you're not flying towards the threshold. Okay, flaps 15. Gonna add some power. We're in the green on the parent altitude, which means we are 100 feet below or above parent altitude, according to the GPS. And which coincides. So that's perfect. Gonna check my pedals before. Yeah. After 2 hours flight. Okay, the threshold is beyond a beam. We're gonna continue till, because of the haziness, let's say to 10 nautical miles, and that'll give us ample time to turn onto base and to establish on the it's not a localizer, but on the GPS localizer of Straightway. Speed is perfect. And the runway you see how marginal VFR it is. Nautical miles coming up. And then we'll turn to base. We checked that the terrain is flat enough to do this beforehand, so 10 nautical miles, turn to base. There we are. And this is where we put out our gear. And give some extra power to compensate for the drag. Turning some more. 6 nautical miles, the magenta number, from the center line. Cross-track error to the center line. Keep an eye on that. As soon as it's below 2 nautical miles, the needle starts moving. And then we can turn onto final. Flying not perfectly box here, but we have enough distance to the airport. My God, we're really gonna need it's marginal VFR. How are we doing in our? You're just below full flap speed, which is good. Gonna increase it slightly. 3 nautical miles to our center line. Nautical miles. Start turning to about 45 degrees. And then we'll do a fine tune once we capture. There we are. Half a nautical mile from the center line. 6 nautical miles at we are 2.5. 3 we will start our descent. We don't see the runway. So we gotta use our vertical speed to start our descent. There you go. Vertical speed. And we make it vertical speed. And we make it 900. And full flaps.
Altitude.
And that's the runway. There's the runway.
Autopilot.
Autopilot. Disengage. We're a bit off.
500.
We're coming in at 3.6, which is fine. Well, turbulence. It's pretty steep, but it's a big runway. There we are. Welcome to Karachi. Perhaps we can flaps up. Can already take this exit. that was the landing was not textbook, but Straightway did its job. Got us. I messed up in the end because I'm a lousy pilot, but Straightway did its job. Okay, let's configure the plane for and do some taxiing using Straightway parking brakes. So we're here. Okay, let's get over the threshold first. Get off the runway. There you go. That's much safer. And put our landing lights out before we blind anybody. How did you do this? Okay, landing lights, taxi, strobe off. So, change maps to the cultural map, which has all human-made features. Do away with all our waypoints. Yes. So now we've got, and you can see us here, where we are. And now just say where you want to go. You want to go to the International Airport Departures Terminal? Do a big boy? Or you want to go to the Civil Aviation Authority? Okay, we're not going to go to the cricket ground. So we'll go to, let's say you want to go here. I'm gonna show you. You can do an actual route, or you don't even have to do that. So just put a marker here, and here is your turn-off point, and then you're here now. So you have to turn to the right, and this is your other turn-off point. And that way you won't lose center on where we are. And now you can start parking without risk of losing your way. Taxing, sorry, parking. It's a new verb. Watch the straightway. Yeah. Turning to the left. And we're going to go all the way to where that first turn-off marker is. Perhaps, oh, there it is already. You have to watch because there's some delay. Ah, this must be it. Yep. There we are. And we go to our turn-off point, which is... There's a bit of delay, and that's because of... there is the turn-off point. It's just because of the link between straightway and in real life you won't have that delay. And we can go exactly to the point where we wanted to go. Which is a huge ramp. The yeah, gonna use if you want to fine tune. Yeah, dead on target. So there we are, Karachi. No, we're not on target. Anyway, hope you found this useful, and hope you're gonna use straightway in a real airplane, as a backup system, always as a backup system. or you can even use it when you're taking an airliner and you're in the cabin as a passenger. And you can follow what the pilot is doing and get it on Google Play. So this is where we're gonna sign off, and our next leg will be coming up soon. I don't know yet where it's gonna go, but it's gonna go east because we are flying around the world with a Strait way. Hope to see you next time, and bye bye.